Hey guys, it's Josh with Cardinal Offroad, and today I'm just going to show you my 3-link that I did in the front of my Jeep TJ with the Dana 60, and kind of show you why I did it this way, and kind of give you some ideas if you're getting ready to do your 3-link. The biggest thing on the 3-link is that upper link. So the lowers are pretty simple. You can't really mess them up. The biggest thing you need to watch for is making sure when you mount them on the axle that you have plenty of space to turn your tires. So as far as the upper goes, a couple things you need to watch for are placement of it. If you're trying to put it on the passenger side, it's going to be a little hard because of the exhaust. If you put it on the driver's side, it's going to be a little hard because you got the drive shaft. So the driver's side is going to be a little easier because you got a little more space in there. Just got to make sure when you mount it up that you have room for the drive shaft as far as movement and stuff. A good idea, if you don't have drive shafts made like I did, is just put a piece of tubing from your output shaft to where your pinion would be, and I'll kind of give you a rough idea where the drive shaft will be. Also on the upper link, you have link separation between your lower link and your upper link. So you kind of want to make that upper link adjustable, and the reason why is this will be able to change. You'll be able to change your anti-dive very easily, and your anti-dive depends on where you have that link corresponding to the lower link. So if you make it to where you're crawling and it's very easy to go over an object, instead of diving down that object, that's good, but then that could also hurt you as far as going up a hill or something like that, because that front end is going to want to tend to come up a little bit more. But it can also change if you want that front end to stay down. That's great and all, but when you come up to an obstacle, instead of going over real easy, you might tend to dive into it, and hence anti-dive. So I'll show you how I did my bracket. I made all the brackets to the frame because I wanted them a certain way, and I'll give you a close-up of that and how I made it, and this will help you change your anti-dive. Now, if you build a Jeep already, you have somebody or you know somebody that has something set up where you like it, then you can go ahead and do yours. But if you don't, you kind of want to make that adjustable to help you out. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the brackets and everything that I made. So lowers are pretty simple. Mounted on the axle using Arctec mounts, and then I believe my control arm is about 3 feet. And then so I made these, and they're pretty dang heavy duty, but that's good because they're going to take a lot of abuse with rocks. Now the reason I did this is I wanted a pretty good slope, so when I'm backing up I wanted to make sure that a rock can slide over that very easily, so that's why I made it a little bit longer than most. Now I know a lot of kits come to where they got like a cross member, and then your lower your lower on the rear comes down, so it makes smooth. I mean, everything's going to be good at a certain spot. The only issue with that is it takes away more of your ground clearance. So now I know this is a place to get hung up on, but that's why I made that a little bit longer, and it should be fine. So it's a pretty smooth transition. There's the other one over there. Then I took that plate all the way up on the back side and on the front side, and then I filled in underneath. So the lowers are the same on both sides. So now I'm going to go ahead and take you and show you the upper link. Starting out, there's the upper link on the truss. Now I mounted mine on the back of the axle up above, and the reason I did that is to give me more clearance on top. Now I still got good link separation. I think I got like 8 inches or so. So you just want to make sure that your upper and lower link are not too close together. And I think 7/8's the norm from what I've read. So anywhere around there, I think you're pretty good. Now as far as, here is the mount I made for the frame. And here's the holes I was talking about. So it's got 3 slots. And like I said, now I can move this upper arm up and down. So, and I think that's like a 4-inch difference, something like that. So, and that'll change my anti-dive because that's going to change my link separation at the frame. And like I said, the biggest thing is you need to watch for your drive shaft. So I'm hoping the drive shaft will be coming through here. Now obviously it's going to be worse on on full bump. So that's one thing you got to check when you're doing this, is make sure this stuff's not going to hit at full bump. So I'm going to go ahead and show you a close-up of this bracket and how I made it. Alright, so here's a close-up of the 3-link bracket that I made. So you'll notice I drilled different holes, and the intent is I can switch it out once I figure out where I want it to be, and it will change my anti-dive. So it'll be oriented like this, so I can start the lower hole and just move my way up to these two if I desire. And then I didn't put a top and bottom on because there wasn't a lot of space, and the top of the heim joint will be hanging up and also hanging down. But what I'm going to do is, say I put my heim joint on the bottom hole, I'm going to cut a piece of tubing that goes in between here and just put a bolt up there. And what that'll do is keep this strong up here without having to weld a top to it. And then I brought the back over, and what that's going to allow me to do is put my nut through there and then run the bolt through this way. And then the frame will be over here. And then I put 2 gussets on the back. So like I said, the frame will be right here. And then that'll keep that from twisting. So one last piece of the 3-link is your Panhard bar or your track bar. And you have to run that Panhard bar to keep your axle straight. Now in the rear, if you do a single triangulate or a double triangulate, you don't have to run the Panhard bar or track bar, and that's because slanting your arms in keeps the axle from going left to right. In the front, you're doing 3 links that are pretty much straight. So what's going to happen is if you don't have a Panhard bar from your frame to your axle, the axle is going to want to just go like this. It's going to be all over the place. If you ever watch somebody that's broken one, the whole axle will just shift underneath the Jeep. I mean, the thing will just come completely out pretty much till the links bind up. So you need to make sure you have that on there. When you're doing your Panhard bar, it's a good idea. What I did on mine was just kind of mock one up. Instead of using a brand new piece of tubing, I just got some little pieces that I had left over. I tacked them all together to make the length that I need, and then I put my heim joints on, I tacked them together, and then I just tried it out. So, because I wasn't really sure what my ride height would be, and you need to know that because you want to set that at ride height. You don't want to set that at full bump, because what's going to happen is as that suspension travels up, that axle is going to actually move. It's going to happen, especially when you have a lot of travel. You got to think about it. If you're on like a 14-inch travel coilover, that axle is moving a lot, and as it moves, that bar, that Panhard bar that's going from the axle, is going to kind of go like this. So it's going to be kind of like a swing towards the frame. So, but you need to make sure that's correct. You can just eyeball that, you know, get it at right height, eyeball it, and then do some measuring to make sure that Panhard bar is the right length. And you also need it at the right angle. And to figure the angle out, you kind of go off where your drag length is. So you want your drag length and your Panhard bar pretty close to the same as possible. You also want them the same length if possible. And what this will help is with your steering, a lot of bump steering, stuff like that. So you kind of want those things kind of working together if possible. So there's just a couple things to keep in mind. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it wasn't nothing like hands-on and showing you how I did it, but it kind of gives you an idea of 3-length, and maybe it'll help you out. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. Make sure you subscribe and check out the other videos.